using the easy mode to complete the game. So sorry. I think that it should be fine. Now I'm gonna start, so please get ready for the timer. So well, I'm gonna start the timer on 3, 2, 1 and go. Okay, this is Streets of Rage 2. This is a game developed and released by Sega back in 1992 for Japan and 1993 for the rest of the world. This is a beat 'em up franchise and it was a big rival for Final Fight at the era. And since the Sega consoles was selling better, well, since the Sega Genesis was selling better than the Super Nintendo on America, this game in some ways a bit popular thanks to it. And also the Streets of Rage 2 franchises made it a new point on the video game industry, since well it turns the first game. Okay, I don't know what's happening with my controller. Hello, thank you. It turns into the first franchise who give credits to the music composer, to the soundtrack composer of the game. It was Yuzo Koshiro. Streets of Rage was the first franchise that has made that, and thanks to it, it marked a new point in the video game industry. And also, Streets of Rage 2 is considered the best game of all trilogy, because well, since the Streets of Rage, sorry, since the first Streets of Rage game, a lot of things new things was added to this game, like for example better movements, more movements, better graphics and all that stuff. And also, well, what I can say about this, because well, I'm also losing bits, I'm losing data, which is nice. And hello, thank you. I don't know what's happening with this guy, but I can't hit him. Okay, I have lost a big amount of time. This is so bad. Okay, I'm gonna make this faster since my controller, I don't know why, but was acting weirdly. And also, well, I'm gonna talk a bit about the version that I'm using in the game, because I'm using the Wii Virtual Console version, which is a bit better in some way than the play on the original Genesis, because this game on the Sega Genesis lags a lot. So thanks to it, and there are two different categories: one for Virtual Console versions, ports and emulators, and the other one for runs that have been made on Genesis consoles. Okay, I'm losing a big amount of data stuff, and I don't know what we can do here. Can we restart the run or something like that? Because I have a lot of data, and this run was going to the garbage. And hello, and staff, please. Hello, people, staff. Hey, please, I need to restart this. Okay, now this is working correctly. Okay, I'm gonna restart my run. Okay, I'm gonna restart my run since, well, I'm losing a big amount of data and I don't know why. So I'm gonna talk again. Whatever. So I'll be ready for the time on 3, 2, 1, go. Alright then, this is Streets of Rage 2. Oh fuck. Okay, I forgot to make a lock on recording. Okay, doesn't matter. And this is a surprise to Axel. As I was saying, this game was developed by Sega and published in Japan in 1992 and 1993 and for the rest of the world. And this is a beat 'em up game, and at the era, hello, thank you. And the era, this game was a big rival for Final Fight, which also was in some way a beat 'em up franchise. Or maybe I'm wrong, I don't remember the correct name of the game, but it doesn't matter for now. And also, the Streets of Rage franchise marked a new point on the video game industry because this was the first franchise which gives credits since the first game to the music composer, which is Yuzo Koshiro, and he had composed a lot of nice and great tunes, not only for video games. He also had released a couple of singles, and they are so nice to hear. Because here, as you can hear, this is the background. Just my voice leads to us to hear this, and this is not like the typical video game soundtrack that we are used to hear. I mean, with this, you don't know if you are gonna fight on the street or you're gonna start to dance or something like that, because the soundtrack of this is so based on the 90s club music and the 90s house music, which is something nice because, well, this is a game developed for a 16-bit console, and hearing that kind of tunes in some way on a console and it's so freaking awesome. And well, talking about the franchise in general, the first Streets of Rage game. Well, since the first game, a lot of new stuff has been added to this, like for example, better sprites and better movements, and also the soundtrack went so freaking nice. Also, the first game. Also, many people consider Streets of Rage 2 as the best of all the franchise, which is something good, something nice. Okay, I have lost data again, but it doesn't matter, I'm not gonna restart. And well, basically on this first stage, this is very short, I don't have a lot of stuff to say. The interesting parts will start on next stages. But the first thing that I need to do here is to beat all these guys, so I will try to keep them on the screen, because if they go off screen, it's a bit harder that move them to the center of the screen. Because if they go off screen, it's a bit harder to beat them, because if the camera is not focusing them, it will take a big amount of time sometimes that they appear. So depending on your movements, it's where that enemies are. And also, since we know that the Sega Genesis controller has 3 buttons, the A, B, and C button, I usually hit with the B button and jump with the C one. And with the A button, I use some special movements that takes a bit of my health, so that kind of movements I will reserve it more for bosses. Okay, and I'm restating my data again, doesn't matter. And well, also something that I need to say is that I'm playing the Wii Virtual Console version. And I need to say this because the categories on this game are different. Well, depending on the platform, there are leaderboard for the runs done on a Genesis console and another leaderboard for runs done on emulators, on Virtual Console versions, or port versions, because this game lacks a lot on the Sega Genesis in some parts, depending on the enemies and all that stuff. So the moderators, the mods, thought that it was a bit unfair that, well, since the game, not many people run the game, but it was a bit unfair that on the Genesis there's no kind of lag. It's something that doesn't happen on these versions, for example. So that's the reason why I mentioned this, that I'm playing the Wii Virtual Console version using any SNES Classic controller. But, well, that second point about the controller doesn't matter about all, but I wanna tell it because it's weird that I'm playing a Sega game on a Nintendo console using a replica of the rival, of the controller of the rival of the Sega Genesis, which was the SNES. And you will see that sometimes there will be some kind of mini boss or sub bosses like that. So before another enemies will start to fight and all that stuff, and I need to fight versus this kind of sub bosses, and sometimes also the enemies will attack even if the sub boss is present, because well, it's a fighting on the street and there are no kind of rules for all this shit at least. Okay, I need to keep one. Okay. And also, you will see that sometimes I will be jumping and making a kick in the air, because in some way this is a fast way to move here. So sometimes I will be doing that. And now this is the second boss of the game. This is Jet, and it's a bit hard to me to beat him because you need to be careful on which part you are to hit him, because if you put attention correctly to the screen, you will see the shadow of Jet. So this is a way when you can beat him, but also it's a bit harder, at least for me. There are some faster strats, but also not a big problem sometimes. And for example, have told before, there will be some enemies that will be annoying when I am versus these bosses or sub-bosses. Hello? Come on! Okay, just one more hit and there we go. Now, I'm gonna go to the third stage. There are a total of 8 stages on this game. And every stage has like different scenes or scenarios depending of the stage. The first stage was so short. The second one also in some way was short. So from this point we're gonna start with more longest stages. And also some techniques that I'm doing here is to pressing the D-pad twice, in this case to the right, to hit the enemies, and then I press the B button to do this kind of attack. And remembering to some guys from another marathon where I have run this game, they named this attack like get the car. Because also that's another curious point about Super H franchise, because as you can hear the staff tried to, well, the developers had tried to add some voices, but since the limitation of the storage of the cartridges, well, some of these sounds hasn't been sound cleared, so some of the dialogues are hard to understand. Now it's time to a second mini sub-boss, and also as you can see, there's a possibility that sometimes the enemies will be on the same point, and this is good since I can, with just a simple attack, time and go as faster as I can. And as you can see, there will be a lot of different enemies and most like this that look the same, that do the same sprites. And there's a variety of the enemies, so we will see all of this kind and all entire run. And also, as you can see, this was a sub-boss. Something like this was a sub-boss on the first game, on the first stage, sorry. And well, we're gonna see more like this in all entire game. And also, if I hit them correctly at the correct and a precise moment, I can make that they don't attack me, that they can attack me, and also they don't move, which makes in some way that this turns a bit easier to beat, which is cool. So also, as you have noticed, and there are some parts that I can continue and can keep moving since there are some enemies on screen. So if I don't beat certain enemies, they simply the game will not allow me to continue on the game, to continue on forward on stage. So sometimes I need to beat them. And okay, I'm having a bad pace. Okay, not on this point. Just one more. Okay, there we go. And also that guys who their names are Signal sometimes are annoying thanks to some sliding that they make. And also, well, it's time to go to the third boss battle. I'm trying to fight versus Samsung. So in some bosses like this, I'm not gonna make the special attacks with the A button since it's a bit hard to calculate where the bosses are. This is the same case as Jet. You need to check on which spot the enemies are. Well, wait a moment. Hello, thank you. Sometimes I can get lucky, and if I find the correct spot, I will make that they doesn't move, and they don't move, and with this I can beat them easily. Okay, now I've beat that boss. And yeah, Tab, I also remember this game. And thanks for the good luck. And yeah, guys, after this, we are gonna have the Donald Duck Wing Quackers race to close this amazing marathon. And as I have to say, these guys, which their names finish on Signal, are annoying things, so that's kind of sliding that they do. And also something that you can note about the game, and you will see on with next bosses that will appear, and also with some normal enemies, it's that in some way there's a kind of racist jokes or something like that, or at least it's something I have found on the names. Because at least with this guy, his name was Donovan, and well, that's normal. I mean, this is a normal name in some way. But there will be another. Well, this guy's name is Donovan too. But there are also some enemies which has some weird names and that make jokes with their appearance. Like for example, you will see that all these kind of ninjas, this kind of samurais without swords or something like that. I don't remember. Or samurais. I don't know what they are. They have that kind of Japanese names, but regularly all these other characters has like American names instead of Japanese ones. And also there will be another enemy close to this which name is Big Ben, and you will see which enemy is, and you will see what I'm referring to this. Because I don't know if it was done on purposely. Maybe yes, since on that years everything was different. It wasn't like nowadays that now you need to be so careful about what do you say or what do you do because you will offend somebody. unintentionally. And even if you have the intention. And also another fact that I need to say is that on the Final Fight games, there also were some girls, some girl characters that was retired from the games on the American releases, but as you can see, that was a girl and that wasn't censored on Sega. But on the SNES with Final Fight, some characters and some bosses got modified or retired, got censored. And this is curious because thanks to it, on Final Fight, there appeared one character which principally initially was a girl, but thanks to the censorship, Capcom said that the character was a post-trans, so which is curious. What kind of censorship does they have? And this is Big Ben, the guy which I have told you before. And yeah, the race will be PS1 EMU versus a PS2 with fast speed. Oh well, what I can do about this? Some of these parts are like auto-scrollers, so the way to move this faster is to beat all these enemies as fast as I can, and also I need to be careful with some of them, because if I am close to the shadow of one of them that is falling, I have a big risk to get damaged, and also it will make me lose time. So in some way I remember where are some of that, where fall some of their enemies, so thanks to it I can move before they fall, and also before they can make me some kind of damage. Okay, that was close. As you have heard, that character has made a sound and making a hit. I was close to be on that hit, so in some way I'm glad that anything bad happened. So this is the stage 4 boss, who is Abalidi. But first I'm gonna take some. Okay, it doesn't matter, he killed me. And also, it's not. I don't used to use to do this special attack, since Abalidi it's a bit hard to beat in some way. It's more easy using the normal combinations of buttons, at least for me, because in some ways he's a bit unpredictable. But if you can check which movement is he gonna do, it's more faster to locate where does he is. So, well, whatever. Now we have beaten the one half of the game. We need to beat the other half, and now everything's gonna start to be more harder. And now more enemies will appear. What about the fast forward feature? Well, that feature is out of my control. That's a feature that's having these RTMP servers that I'm using, so I'm not responsible. Also, I'm making a local recording just in case, you know. And also, this is another joke with the names, because this fat dude name is Hard, so you will understand in some way what the Sega tried to say. And yeah, I know that I need to go. You don't need to remember me that. I think that it's obvious. Or well, don't tell me that again, because I don't want to move. I want to keep there without doing anything, because I love to do anything. You know, it's so boss time again. And also, I'm gonna talk about a little about the characters, and also I haven't told the story of the game, but first I'm gonna talk about the story of the game. And this game starts like 1 year after the first one finishes, and it was when Mr. X and his gang got defeated, and then Skate, one of the playable characters, when he arrived at his home, discovered that his big brother was kidnapped, and his big brother, I don't remember his name, but he was a playable character on the first game. So they need to defeat again to Mr. X and save the Skate's big brother. Okay, I'm restoring my data. I don't know, maybe also it's my ISP, since on recent weeks there has been a lot of problems. So I don't know really, but it doesn't matter. I'm still making a local recording, so it looks like I'm not losing data all the time. That it's so good. So well, I hope that you can apologize me if you see that my image went down. Maybe it's an ISP problem. And well, that was also a sub boss, another jetpack dude. And I really hate them because you can lose a big amount of time if you don't do everything wrong. Also, there are 4 characters in this game: Axel, Blaze, Skate, and Max, and for every character it's a different category, since, well, they have different mechanics and movements, and well, I play as Axel since he's cool, and other people play as Max since he's the most fastest character. I haven't saw anybody playing with Skate, and if some people play with Blade, it's because, well, she's hot. OP. And now we have this boss battle with this guy from Punch-Out. Since he saw that there was any new Punch-Out game on the SNES, he tried some luck on another new franchise from another company, and it looks like everything went fine. At least. Well, as I've said before, maybe it's an ISP problem, so don't mind about it. Now it's stage 6, and it's nice that you have played this game on a boost tab arcade. Because also it got an arcade version, or a kind of arcade version, on a special Genesis version that Sega made as an arcade machine, which was cool. Okay, audio is not cutting at least, that's good. So if audio is not cutting, I will continue talking. It doesn't matter if I lose some data and my image freezes. And now, as you have saw, in some stages will appear some sub-bosses before I watch another principals, and it's not supposed that I have done this, but you know, timing and all that stuff. Sometimes we need to move more faster as we can. And well, in some ways it's good that if I am losing some data, the audio can still going, doesn't matter. And also we have here another example. This guy's name Government. So what does you think that you're trying to mean, or what trying to refer? And also there are some motorbike some motorcycles, some motorbikes, and enemies. So I don't need to focus in some of them, just in some of them, since as you can see they respawn. So also if one of that motorbike explodes, can make damage, not just to me, it can do damage also for the to the enemies. And sometimes it's fine. It's funny because even the own enemies make damage themselves. So there will be some occasions that maybe an enemy throw me or hit me, and also will throw and hit to another enemy, which is something funny. I don't know if it was intended or Sega wasn't able to program correctly that part. Now next boss, and now we got a Ultron boss again in some way. And also as you can see there's a jetpack dude, and now we start on the part that we have like, it looks like we have two bosses, but the other one is just a boss. If we beat the principal boss, it will fine since well, and the fight will the stage will finish. So I need to focus on Solar since he's the principal boss here. Hello, thank you. Oh, come on. Okay, that's fine. Stage number 7. We are reaching the end of this. Well, if I'm not talking, it's for two reasons. The first one is because I'm trying to focus, and the second one is because I don't have anything to say. Also, as you can see, some enemies have some items, and if I hit them, they will throw them. And also I can catch them and use them, but that's slowly. That's slow in some ways, in some occasions. And also there's another fact, because as you have saw, this enemy have thrown me twice. So if I don't want to get hit and I don't want to lose some big amount of time, I keep pressing the C button with the D-pad up. With this, if I don't do this, they will throw me, I will fall and I will take damage, and also I will lose some time. But if I don't, if I do that to press the C button with the D-pad up, and I will skip that and I will be in battle, and they are not gonna make me damage, which is cool. Come on. Thank you. I don't like a lot this jetpack dudes. on, come on, come on, come on! Nice. So on this part is just in some way that all kind of enemies that we have saw will start to appear again. But in some ways there are alternate forms. And this fire thing that is a pirate, his name is Sparrow. And also sometimes that's not good in any way, since it doesn't matter if I'm hitting an enemy on one side, if there's another one to the other side starting to hitting me, I will lose time and I will not hit anybody. So in that cases I will try to move to the other side. Okay, just let's move this guy here and it's fine. Come on, Alex. There we go. Okay, this boss battle is a bit easier, but there's also a pattern that will be a little nightmare, so I will try to make everything fine. And also, it's good that they go out of screen sometimes because it's a bit easy to beat them, but not like on these cases. First one, second. Now it's time to go to the last stage of the game. And now it's time to fight versus Mr. X. Okay. And now again we have this punch out dude. Oh, come on, okay. Okay, that was a very good start. IMO. And now we are gonna have some sub bosses that are similar to the bosses that we have saw on the other stages. Well, in that cases, if an enemy throw me like that, I'm not able to use the plus C trick to don't get damaged. It's just if they throw me away. And also in some way it's a perfect timing if you wanna hit them if they start to move. Here we go! Now, this is the first principal sub-boss in some way. This is Shiva. One time that I complete this, I'm gonna go versus Mr. X. Okay, this was a very fast fight, so that was good. And now I'm wait to Mr. X come here, and then I will start to hit him. Okay, I think I'm gonna wait that I got damage in order to have more energy to beat him. So I'm gonna wait that an enemy fill me out, or maybe not. Let's gonna see what happens first. Let's see if I can beat it like this. And it looks like I don't, or maybe yes. Maybe yes, maybe yes. Okay, that was so awesome. Well, time will finish when stage 8 appears on screen. Stage 8 cleared, so... And... time! Okay, I have two things to say. The first one, this was with my timer it was 36 minutes and 1 second. My PB is 35:15 that I have achieved last weekend on another marathon. And the second one is that it was good in some way, but all my splits were red. Except the last one, I got a gold, so that means that if I get a gold, that means that I have a bit faster or something. So, well, this is Streets of Rage 2. So, I'm gonna set up Donald Duck going Quackers. I will race this versus Setsu, and this will be the last run of this marathon, so keep watching, guys. I'm gonna be back on a while, and also Setsu, and also if Shadow wants, he will join us. Maybe not on a race, but maybe on BC. And well, let's see that hype for the last game of this good marathon. That, well, that phrase says that all cool stuff needs to finish, and unfortunately this marathon is gonna finish. But it's a good, in some way, nice speed game, or well, a good meme, which is sorry, some download Queen Quackers. Now if I say that this is a meme, Izumi is gonna kill me. Oh well. So I will check, well, let's check on a while this. We're gonna do a new setup, and also thanks to staff to add that phrase to the stream. Sorry, bad connection to runner. That was funny. I appreciate it a lot. Well, I will be back in a while, so see you guys. I will be muted. My stream will continue. I tell that to the staff. I want to continue streaming. I just want to switch games, so I will mute my mic so you can make all the set.